Hi, my name is Eliza Bowling, and this is my English presentation, my visual presentation of my memoir called A Childhood Traveler. This project is a visual display of my memoir in the form of photos. My memoir is all about my memories traveling as a kid, specifically centered around a road trip I went on out west and how that led me to think about going to college here in New Mexico. I wrote all about how I've been all over the country as kids, and up until now, all of my adventures my father took have been in many photographs. I've selected a few major destinations we stopped at, as well as other trips from when I was older to present with pictures for this project. The first place we stopped on this trip was this town in Texas called Amarillo. We stopped at the steakhouse and we all had really big steaks. You can see the picture of me on the top left. I have the toy gun and the stuffed snake around my neck and the cowboy hat. I was feeling very Western. The picture on the right in front of that giant cow is me and all my siblings. This was a really fun stop on the trip, and it was the first major destination. The second place we stopped on this trip was Arches National Park, Utah. This was collectively our favorite stop of the trip. This national park is really, really beautiful, and we got the chance to climb up on all the rocks. You can see the picture on the left, we're climbed up on the rocks. The picture in the middle, there's me also sitting on the rocks. The landscaping here in Utah was really, really, really beautiful. I'm really fortunate we got to go here. You can see that picture on the bottom right is me and my siblings just kind of looking out into the landscapes. And we hiked around here for about a day, and it was really fun. The next place we stopped was White Sands National Park here in New Mexico. This is a really neat national park, and it's basically land of these giant sand dunes. They're white sand dunes, and you can rent sleds like you would use for snow sledding, and you just climb up on the sands, and then you just ride the sleds down the sand dunes. This was a lot of fun. I remember being really, really tired, though, because actually walking back up the sand dunes was really tiring and kind of hard. You can see the picture of me on the left. I'm kind of rolling down the hill. There's me and my sisters with their sleds on top, and then my brother's just kind of sitting there. But this is a really fun stop on the trip. We also went to the Four Corners, which is where Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona meet. This trip was actually the main destination point for our trip, but it actually ended up being like the least interesting of all the places we went. But it's still a cool landmark to say that I've been to. You can see me in the picture on the left. I've got all 4 limbs touching all 4 states at one time, which is kind of cool. And then the fresh hot fry bread stand was by far our favorite part of this stop, is that we got the hot fry bread and it was really, really good. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. This next stop wasn't actually planned, but we ended up going to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and they have these hot springs there. And it's basically like a spa where there's a million different hot tubs, but the hot tubs are from natural hot springs. Each hot tub was labeled with the exact temperature and the name of the rock. This was really, really neat. We got to just sit in the hot tubs all day. The picture on the right is actually from the river or lake that was like right below the springs. And on the contrary, the water in that lake was freezing cold. But my dad made us get in. He like dared us to for a picture, so we did. You can see my older sister did not cooperate. She's not in that picture. It's just me and my sister and my brother. But we actually had a contest of who can stay in the water the longest because it was that cold. And I have a video of that contest. I'm pretty sure I lost, but it was still a lot of fun. Probably my second favorite place we went on this trip was the Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona. This national park is literally beautiful. We actually got to hike down the canyon, which I think is really, really neat. You can see pictures of us kind of walking down, climbing all over the rocks. We spent like a whole day hiking down the canyon, and it was a lot of fun. The picture on the far right is one of my favorite pictures of me and my brother. I just think it's really sweet. You can see that middle picture. I was very, very excited. And I remember feeding a squirrel on this trip in the Grand Canyon. I don't think my dad took a picture, but it was a lot of fun and probably my second favorite place we went to. We also went to Mesa Verde National Park in Colorado, and this national park is really neat because it's actually indigenous land. And if you see in the middle picture, the indigenous peoples that lived in this area, they would build their houses into the mountains, and like that's where they lived. They had all these structures within the mountains that they lived in, and it was really, really neat getting to walk around. And we got to walk around basically their homes from hundreds of years ago, which was really cool. This national park is really neat, really pretty. I don't know a lot of people that have been here, but you can see the picture on the right, me and my siblings climbing up the ladder. There was a lot of climbing to do on this trip, a lot of hiking, but this stop was so much fun. We also went to Mesa Verde National Park in Colorado, and this national park is really neat because it's actually indigenous land. And if you see in the middle picture, the indigenous peoples that lived in this area, they would build their houses into the mountains, and like that's where they lived. They had all these structures within the mountains that they lived in, and it was really, really neat getting to walk around. And we got to walk around basically their homes from hundreds of years ago, which was really cool. This national park is really neat, really pretty. I don't know a lot of people that have been here, but you can see the picture on the right, me and my siblings climbing up the ladder. There was a lot of climbing to do on this trip, a lot of hiking, but this stop was so much fun. Another place in New Mexico, we went to Tent Rock National Park, New Mexico, and this national park is neat because all of the rocks formations as you can see from those middle pictures, are like domed up like tents kind of. That's why it's called that, obviously. But this was really, really cool. This day specifically, I remember we hiked the entire day and we were all complaining. Everybody was so tired, but like my dad insisted that we hiked through the entire national park. So this was definitely one of the more tiring days, but it's still a really neat place to go. And it's kind of cool that it's in New Mexico, which is where I live now. This next slide is just a couple pictures from our stop in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We went to Petroglyph National Monument, which is the pictures on the right. The two pictures on the left are from Petroglyph National Monument, which is a national monument where indigenous people would mark art on the rocks to signal where they've been and where they're going to other indigenous people that may go through and see. And it's really neat because if you go there today, you can still see a lot of that artwork is still there. That picture on the right is from Old Town, which is an old historic town here in Albuquerque that we went to, and we stopped and ate there. And you can see I have a pen and paper in my hand, and it's because I don't know if they still do this, but when I was a kid and you would go to national parks, they would give the kids like a worksheet like to fill out as you went through the national park with questions about what you've seen and can you spot this kind of. So this was a lot of fun. Me and my siblings did this at every national park, and if you completed the worksheet, they gave you a badge, and we still have all those badges in our basement. But yeah, I had my notebook. I was taking notes on the rocks. It was really fun. So this next slide is actually from 2020. I was a bit older. Me and my family went to Sedona, Arizona, along with a couple other families in fall of that year. And Sedona, Arizona is beautiful. We did a lot of hiking there. The picture on the right of me and my brother is a picture we took after we hiked up the top of this mountain. And it was so scary up there. I remember, actually, I thought I was going to fall off. It was so high up, but it was really, really beautiful. This trip was a lot of fun. It was really, really cold this trip, too, I remember. But, yeah. Hi, this is Eliza, and this is my voice recording for my memoir, which is called A Childhood Traveler. And I created this slideshow to show pictures of my presentation. So this is a visual display for my memoir. My memoir is all about memories of traveling as a kid, specifically centered around this one road trip I went on with my family out west and how that kind of led me into going to college here in New Mexico. I wrote about how I've been all over the country as a kid, and up until now, in all of my adventures, my father took many photographs, and I'm lucky that I have access to all these pictures. In this presentation, I've selected a few major destinations I visited on this trip to present with pictures from it. So the first place that we went was this town in Texas. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Amarillo, I think. And you can see that's me with the plastic gun and the snake stuffed animal. But we stopped at this steakhouse in Texas, and we all had steak, and it was really fun. The picture on the far right is me and my 3 siblings. The second place we went to was Arches National Park in Utah, and this was actually our favorite stop of the whole trip. It was really neat. We got to climb on all the rocks. We had so many pictures from this trip, but again, that's me in the middle, just sitting on the rocks. That's me and my siblings on the bottom looking out, and this was really, really beautiful. I'm really fortunate that we got to go here. The next place that we went to was White Sands National Park, which is actually here in New Mexico. And it's basically a park that has these giant white dune sands, and you can rent sleds, and you climb up to the top, and then you sled down on the sand. This was a ton of fun. Again, the picture on the left is me and all my siblings. You can see I'm kind of rolling down. My two sisters are on top, and then my brother is just kind of sitting there. It was very hard to climb to the top of the sand. I remember that. We also went to the Four Corners, which it's where Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona meet. This was actually the entire point of the road trip was to get here to the Four Corners, but it actually ended up being the least interesting place we stopped. You can see me there like spreading my legs and arms out, so I'm touching all 4 states at one time. The best part about this stop was the fresh hot fry bread stand that was there. We all had fry bread, which I'm not sure if that's the same thing as sopapillas. I think it's similar, but it was really, really good, really fun. Again, there's me and all my siblings. We're each standing on a different state. We also went to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and this was actually an impulse stop. We weren't originally planning on going here, but we ended up stopping at this hot springs, like spa place, and they had a bunch of different hot tubs essentially, but the water was made out of natural. It was a hot spring, not generated, and each spring was like labeled with the temperature and the name. And then the picture on the right is actually a lake that was like right next to the springs, and the water in the lake was freezing cold compared to the hot tub, but my dad told us that we all had to get in. And you can see that my older sister refused to get in, but me and my other sister and my brother, we got in, and you can tell from my face that I was freezing cold. It was not fun. We also went to the Grand Canyon. This stop was amazing. We got to hike down the canyon. We got a ton of pictures from here. It was super fun. That picture on the right is one of my favorite pictures of me and my brother. It's just really sweet. The view was really beautiful. The weather was nice. It was honestly kind of scary hiking down, but it was really beautiful. We also went to Mesa Verde National Park in Colorado, and this is a really neat national park where indigenous houses are like built into the mountains. So when the native people lived here hundreds of years ago, they lived in the mountain by building their houses there, and you can actually go like walk through it and see all of the structure that's still there. So we climbed through it. It was great. There's me climbing up the stairs, me staring at it in my neon skirt. It was really, really pretty. We also went, another place here in New Mexico was Tent Rock National Park, and this is a really neat national park where you can see the mountains or rock formations kind of look like domes or like tents. It's really neat. I remember this day we hiked for like miles, and me and my siblings were complaining so much because my dad would not give up. Like, we were all tired, but like we kept on hiking. We hiked through, I think, like this entire national park one day, and it was really tiring, but it was really, really pretty. And then we have a picture of me in Albuquerque, New Mexico. One of the stops we made, we went to Old Town. That's a picture of the church my dad took. And then we also went to Petroglyph National Monument, which is here in New Mexico. And I think that's the pictures of me climbing on the rocks or from that national park. And then I just wanted to include a few trips that I've been on as an older kid. This is a picture of me from sophomore year. We went to Sedona, Arizona, and we climbed up this mountain. It was really, really pretty. There's me and my brother, now teenagers. The weather was really cold, I remember, but this trip was a lot of fun. And then a year later, we came back to New Mexico, and we actually went to Taos and went skiing, but it was just me and my brother and my parents. My sisters didn't come, but it was really pretty. There's me and my brother in the hotel, and there's a picture of the mountain I went skiing on, and then a picture of me outside the mountains. This was a really, really, really fun trip. And then I came back to Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2023 of February to actually tour the school, and I just came here with my mom. So this is pictures of me and my mom hiking. We had sopapilla fries, and then a picture of the campus that we took when we were here. And then this was August of 2023 where I came back here to be dropped off for school. Kind of a bittersweet collage of pictures. There's me and my brother, me and my older sister. The smaller picture in the middle is me and my parents on campus. And then the picture on the right is this little cafe we went to here. That was really, really good. And so, yeah, I've been to New Mexico about 5 times, even though I live in Georgia, which is crazy. And yeah, that's my memoir. It was really fun to make this presentation and really fun to write about it too and put all these pictures together. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed.